Hello everybody, so in today's video we're going to take pineapple and coconut milk and we are going to make a creamy pineapple sorbet. So I'm going to take this pineapple here and I'm going to test it for ripeness. You just pull out one of the leaves and if it comes out easily, it's ripe. To take off the top, just twist it, take it off, and then we're going to start dicing up this pineapple. So I usually do it by cutting the ends off and then slicing down the sides of the flesh to take off the bark of the pineapple. You don't want to slice too deep into the pineapple, otherwise you're going to take away a lot of the really good flesh of the pineapple. You want to do it just enough to take off the bark and to take off some of the rivets that are left behind. And then whatever little rivets are left, you can always slice off afterwards. I have used those pineapple core utensils before to do pineapples before, and I'm not a fan of them. I find that it wastes too much of the pineapple flesh, and it just wastes too much of the pineapple, so I prefer not to use those. I prefer to just cut it up by hand. If you wanted, you could take the peels and put them in a pot with water and a little bit of sugar and make like a pineapple syrup. I have done that in the past and it is delicious and it's good on desserts, but this day I just take the peels and discard them. So for this, the center of the pineapple right here is really hard. You don't want to eat that part, so I usually slice around it. It might blend up nicely, but I think it would still be a little bit of chunky bits in it. It's not a very flavorful section of the pineapple either, so I would just discard the middle. So now I'm just taking up the flesh of the pineapple and I'm dicing them into small pieces just to make them a little bit easier to fit into my blending cup here and to blend up nicer. For this recipe, you want to use about 2 to 3 cups of diced up pineapple. This is roughly about 3 cups. I only have this small little blender cup. I mistakenly gave away my blender and not realizing that I would still need it. So I need to buy a new blender. But I have these little blender cups that I usually make my smoothies in. So on this day, I was trying to fit all these ingredients into this little blender cup because I didn't want to use the food processor because I didn't think it would puree it fine enough. So as you see, I'm trying to fit it all in there and I end up having to dump a little bit out, blend it, and then put some more back in here. So this is about 2 to 3 cups of pineapple that we're using and a whole can of full-fat coconut milk. So you just want to blend those 2 ingredients up first, get them nice and smooth, and then we'll add the rest of the ingredients. So at this point, I was realizing that this cup might not be big enough. And so I was trying to fit in more slowly here and finish blending up the pineapple at the very least and add the rest of the coconut milk. But then I was afraid that I wasn't going to be able to fit the rest of the ingredients in. So in a couple minutes here, you're going to see that I actually put this into my glass measuring cup and try to add the rest of the ingredients. And then I realized it probably all would have fit into the blender cup to begin with. So I ended up using the measuring cup for no reason. So this is right when I realized that it was really, really full and I didn't think the rest of the ingredients were going to fit. So I added it into my glass measuring cup here to try and finish mixing in the last of the ingredients. Lemon juice, you need about 2 tablespoons. You could also use lime juice in this recipe if you wanted. Then I added about 1 teaspoon of vanilla. You could add half a teaspoon if you don't like the taste of vanilla as much, or you could leave it out altogether. You could also use like a lemon or a pineapple extract in this if you wanted. For this recipe, to make it healthier, I chose to use honey. I put in about 1/4 cup of honey into this recipe. The actual recipe calls for 2/3 cup of sugar. So if you want to follow the recipe exactly, use 2/3 cup of sugar instead. But to make it a little healthier, I used honey. So now I'm just pouring it all back into the blender cup. I thought I was going to have to do it in stages, but I realized at the end here that it all fit and I didn't need to put it in the measuring cup. And you just want to blend it all back up together and make it all nice and creamy. So once it was done blending, I did give this a quick taste. It was delicious. Had a real nice creamy coconut flavor to it. And then I started to put them in some smaller dishes that I could put in my freezer. So I have these glass storage containers that come with lids, and I thought they would be the perfect size for this recipe to freeze in. And then I had a little bit left over, and I have these little dipping bowls, and I decided to put the rest in one of my little dipping bowls that have lids for them. So this recipe is coconut milk and fruit blended up. So if you wanted to put this into an ice cream maker, you could turn this into a pineapple coconut ice cream. But I chose to freeze it like this. I don't have an ice cream maker, and turn it more into a sorbet. So I'm going to put these in the freezer and let them freeze solid. And then once the smaller container is completely frozen, I'm going to take it out and I will film and show you what the texture looks like. So here's a quick look at the final texture. I froze this till it was about 90% frozen. I wanted it to be a little bit more pliable and able to scoop it out a little bit. So the texture is actually quite smooth, and I gave it another taste and it tastes delicious. So I hope you guys try the recipe, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.